Welcome back, viewers. Today, we delve into one of the most tragic events in modern history, the Jonestown Massacre. Join us as we uncover the harrowing tale of how a seemingly utopian community turned into a nightmare. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our historical deep dives. Let's get started. On November 18, 1978, in the remote jungle of Guyana, South America, the world witnessed a tragedy that would forever leave its mark on history. The story begins with the rise of Jim Jones, a charismatic preacher, and his People's Temple. The People's Temple started in the 1950s as a progressive and inclusive religious movement focused on social justice and racial integration. Jones's magnetic personality and radical beliefs attracted a diverse group of followers seeking a better life free from discrimination and inequality. As the People's Temple gained popularity, concerns arose about the cult-like atmosphere within the organization. To escape mounting scrutiny, Jim Jones decided to establish a new community, far away from the prying eyes of the media and authorities. This marked the beginning of the fateful move to Jonestown. In 1974, the People's Temple purchased a vast tract of land in Guyana, South America. It was an isolated and dense jungle area nearly inaccessible by traditional means. To the members, it represented an opportunity to create a harmonious society based on socialist principles, free from the racial tensions and societal inequalities they faced in the United States. Thousands of followers seeking a better life and believing in Jones's vision of a utopian paradise embarked on the journey to Jonestown. Families were uprooted and lives were left behind in pursuit of this collective dream. The move to Jonestown was challenging, to say the least. Members had to endure harsh conditions, including extreme weather, lack of proper infrastructure, and limited resources. The community faced constant challenges, from setting up essential utilities to growing food in the unforgiving jungle. However, despite the difficulties, Jones was able to maintain control over his followers, presenting Jonestown as an escape from the corrupt world outside. He manipulated their deep sense of commitment to the cause, encouraging them to work tirelessly towards building this paradise on earth. As Jonestown grew, so did the concerns about the cult-like practices and Jim Jones's increasing control over his followers. Reports of abuse, manipulation, and human rights violations began to surface. Concerned family members and defectors accused Jones of financial fraud, coercion, and holding members against their will. These alarming allegations triggered investigations by the media and the U.S. government. The media, led by investigative journalists and concerned relatives, started digging deeper into the secretive world of Jonestown. Reports of the community's isolation and strange practices fueled public curiosity and raised serious questions about the well-being of its members. In response to the escalating scrutiny, Jones became increasingly paranoid and defensive. He strictly controlled communication with the outside world and subjected his followers to relentless propaganda, painting outsiders as enemies of the community. The investigations and media coverage only served to strengthen Jones's control over his followers. He manipulated their fears, convincing them that the world was conspiring against them and that the only way to protect the community was to stay isolated in Jonestown. As pressure mounted from various quarters, including concerned us congressmen, it became evident that Jonestown was not the utopia it was claimed to be. The reports of abuse and forced isolation added to the growing concern for the well-being of the people living in the settlement. On November 18, 1978, the tragic events that would later be known as the Jonestown Massacre unfolded. A U.S. congressional delegation, along with journalists and concerned family members, arrived in Guyana to investigate the conditions at Jonestown. Fearing exposure and the possibility of being held accountable, Jones ordered a mass suicide. He manipulated his followers, convincing over 900 of them, including children, to drink a lethal cocktail of cyanide-laced flavor aid. In an unimaginable act of coercion and manipulation, parents were forced to give the deadly drink to their own children before taking it themselves. The members who refused were threatened or forcibly administered the poison. The atmosphere in Jonestown was tense and chaotic. Armed guards patrolled the settlement, and those who hesitated or tried to escape were met with violence or intimidation. The followers were trapped and faced with a horrifying choice of either taking their own lives or being forcibly poisoned. As the poison took effect, panic and desperation filled the air. The sound of crying children, anguished screams, and the haunting final moments of life were captured on the chilling audio recordings that later shocked the world. The world was horrified as these audio recordings captured the events leading up to and during the mass suicide. These recordings are haunting reminders of the power of manipulation and the vulnerability of those seeking a better life. The Jonestown Massacre sent shockwaves around the globe, prompting a deep examination of religious and cult practices. The tragedy led to changes in how cults are viewed, and more stringent regulations were put in place to protect vulnerable individuals. The aftermath of Jonestown left a scar on the survivors and the families of those who perished. Many family members struggled to come to terms with the loss of their loved ones and faced profound grief and confusion. The massacre also raised questions about how such a tragedy could have occurred and what warning signs were missed. It prompted a thorough examination of the responsibilities of leaders within cult-like organizations and the potential dangers of unchecked authority. In the years following Jonestown, various support groups and counseling services were established to help survivors and the families cope with the trauma and loss. The Jonestown Massacre remains a stark reminder of the dangers of blind obedience and unchecked power. We must always remain vigilant against manipulation and be critical of any ideology that undermines our basic human rights. That's it for today's video. We hope you found this historical deep dive informative and thought-provoking. Remember to like this video, share it with others, and leave your comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our future content. Thank you for watching,